we've been a company that's acquired lots of businesses over the last few years, so we've not had a stable environment to really support our senior management team. So because we're not actually doing any activity at the moment, it was a great opportunity for us for several reasons. First of all, to genuinely demonstrate to our senior managers that we are interested in their own development. Secondly, that we've got a pretty good succession planning process, but we really wanted to make sure that we were in the right ballpark, because it's all right doing it in-house, but you always want somebody externally to benchmark that for you. And the third thing, which probably was as crucial as the other two, was to create a leadership team, really high potential group of people, perhaps 6 to 8, we didn't know, but to create this special team so we could really put a lot of effort into this group. We needed a company who could bring real professionalism and pragmatism into an assessment stroke development day, because this is really our top senior team. And so we had to make sure that we could run this process, that the senior managers would get involved and want to actually do the process. So one of the fundamental things was whatever business scenario that we were going to come out with, it had to match all the people, so they were going to have a, as I said, a level playing field in order to demonstrate their ability, their potential, and also to see if there was an opportunity for them to say that they didn't want to do it, because that was as important as making sure that we got the high potential people, but also those who, because they were dealing with a professional organisation, could say, I actually don't want to get promoted anymore.
The Development Centre was comprised of a day in the life series of business simulations. So each individual had their own office, and they had background information about a fictitious company, which they then linked into role plays with peers, role plays with direct reports and with customers. Then there was also a group exercise. We were asked to put something in that was a little bit left field, and the company that we designed the exercises around was a retail coffee outlet or coffee organisation. We designed a group exercise where individuals, where one of the coffee outlets had a bomb scare, and as a group, the individuals had to decide what was going to happen. So, what messages did they need to give their staff? What press release were they going to give? What were they actually going to do moving forward to make sure that these kind of things could be dealt with appropriately in the future?
The content of the development day was great to do something away from your normal type of business work, and I think all the exercises showed something and tested something differently. I think the important thing then is, as part of the feedback, is you put that specific snapshot of the way you've interacted in terms of that particular day into context and how that can fit back in your day-to-day working life. And that takes a little bit of thinking about, because obviously there are some quite specific observations, and getting that context right is very important in terms of coming up with your development plan.
There have been a few surprises as we've gone through the programme. We've had a number of individuals who have been, we always thought of them as highly competent in their sphere of technical competence. But as they've gone through the programme, we've appreciated the broader skills that they bring, and are thinking of them in a completely different light.
The people who have genuinely not wanted to get promoted, and they've always been concerned about the company, just thinking that they're not going to create the right sort of atmosphere, they're a lot more relieved. They're getting far more involved in the local environment and local projects, with the local community for a start, than they actually were doing in trying to demonstrate that they need to be an executive committee member. And for those that actually are on the succession plan, it's become quite clear that as a result of this process, they know a lot more of what to do and how to behave in order to get there.
I think of my team that have been through the Development Centre, there's been quite a wide range of experiences, and I kind of expected that going in. There was a big range from people who were deeply sceptical about the whole process and those who went in very enthusiastically. But I think they've all come out with, I think what I'd describe as sensible small development plans. So it's not boil the ocean stuff, but they've all come out with 2 or 3 things that they can see that they can work on that are going to improve how they perform for Phoenix and how they, probably get a better job satisfaction out of it themselves.
Right Management has provided support to all of the individuals going through the centre, whether they were identified as future leaders or just future senior managers. We have offered coaching to every individual on the programme, as well as talking through with the learning and development team what the development needs are and putting together a development plan for each of the individuals on the programme.
In terms of measuring the success of the programme, we're currently in the early stages of coaching. So what we will do is for each individual, we have an identified set of objectives. So and we'll keep tracking those as we go along, and the individuals will work with their sponsor to feedback on those. But also at the very end, we'll have a 3-way session for each individual where they will sit down with their coach and the sponsor, and they will all discuss the objectives to see what progress was made, how well they've met those objectives. So that will be kind of a standard approach, but we will look at other ways to evaluate, and we'll work with the business to find out what works best for them. So one way might be that we will contact the individuals again with a survey of some sort, maybe 6 months down the line, to measure how they feel things have changed for them, whether the coaching is still supporting them, whether they feel they've got the tools to kind of continue with their development. We can also look at engagement scores, those sorts of things, but we'll work with the business to determine what's right for them.
If I'm looking a year down the line and somebody asks me my views on attending a development centre, I'd say absolutely go for it. Don't be afraid. Be who you are. Get the most out of it, because my experience today, although it's relatively early days, is the process is incredibly insightful. You learn a huge amount about yourself, and the organisation wants to work with you as an individual to make the most of yourself. So I just say go for it.